Breaking news from the heart of the K-pop world has erupted like a sudden storm, shaking the global ARMY community to its core. What began as a quiet morning for most has now spiraled into a frenzy of speculation, fear, and outrage. Reports have surfaced that Jungkook's personal manager, one of the most trusted figures in his inner circle, has been targeted with a mysterious and disturbing threat from an unknown source. The motive remains unclear, the details scarce, but the tremors of this revelation are already echoing through social media, igniting heated conversations that show no sign of slowing. The incident allegedly came to light earlier today when insiders close to the BTS star disclosed that the manager, often seen at Jungkook's side during airport arrivals, concert preparations, and private engagements, had received a direct and chilling message. This was no casual note, no cryptic fan letter lost in the shuffle. It was a deliberate strike, the kind of calculated move that forces even the most seasoned industry professionals to look over their shoulder. Those who have seen the message claim it arrived in a form that left no room for misunderstanding, though its exact wording has not been released to the public. Sources describe it as short but loaded with menace, its tone sharp enough to cut through the manager's composure. The few fragments filtering through unofficial channels hint at an ultimatum, an urgent command to stop doing something, though precisely what remains cloaked in secrecy. Whispers have even emerged that the threat carried a visual element, perhaps a photograph, an image meant to drive home the seriousness of the warning, to make it abundantly clear that this was no idle bluff. For now, both the message and the sender's identity are locked away from public scrutiny, but that hasn't stopped the ARMY from demanding answers. Inside HYBE's Seoul headquarters, the atmosphere this morning reportedly shifted in an instant from routine efficiency to heightened alert. Witnesses describe security personnel moving with sudden urgency, their voices low but firm, their steps quick and deliberate. Phones rang incessantly, conversations were held in hushed tones, doors closed more firmly than usual. Some staff members who might normally greet colleagues with a smile or a casual comment avoided eye contact, their expressions tight. The usual hum of a busy entertainment office was replaced by a tense, almost oppressive quiet, broken only by the occasional clipped exchange between those who knew more than they could share. The company's internal security protocols were elevated immediately, with certain access points tightened, visitor clearances rechecked, and schedules reviewed. Those who understood the gravity of the situation refrained from speaking openly, knowing that even the smallest leak could feed the hungry engine of public speculation. And yet, a leak of some kind clearly occurred, because the story still found its way out. By mid-morning, fans across the globe were already posting about it. On Twitter, hashtags combining Jungkook's name with words like manager and threat shot to the top of trending lists in multiple countries. On Instagram and TikTok, clips of Jungkook with his manager were reposted in tribute, captions urging people to protect him like you protect JK, gathering thousands of shares within hours. The ARMY's reputation for fierce loyalty is well earned, and now that loyalty has shifted into high gear, fueling an online movement not only to express concern, but to push for concrete action. Calls for stronger security measures around Jungkook and his team have multiplied, with many pointing to his increasingly visible global profile as a reason to double down on protection. For those outside the ARMY, it may be tempting to view this as a small matter, a backstage issue between an artist's staff and an anonymous troublemaker. But for millions of Jungkook's supporters, this strikes at something far deeper. The manager in question is not just a name on a payroll sheet. He is, in many ways, part of the invisible infrastructure that keeps Jungkook safe and supported. His job is to manage schedules, coordinate travel, oversee security arrangements, and generally ensure that the chaos of a superstar's life is kept at bay. To see that person targeted is to see a breach in the very walls that protect Jungkook himself. And if that wall has been breached, even slightly, then questions about the safety of the artist inevitably follow. The timeline of this incident is still shrouded in uncertainty. Reports suggest the threatening message was received in the early hours, though whether that means just after midnight or shortly before dawn remains unclear. Some sources claim the manager reacted immediately, notifying HYBE's security team, who in turn began coordinating with local law enforcement. Others imply there was a brief window of hesitation, perhaps to confirm the message's authenticity before any official channels were engaged. What is certain is that once the gears began turning, they turned fast. Police have recordedly begun gathering digital evidence, tracing the message's origin and identifying possible suspects. The nature of the investigation means details are scarce, but the involvement of both law enforcement and HYBE's own security apparatus suggests a situation being treated with utmost seriousness. HYBE itself has remained silent. No press releases, no carefully worded statements, just a void into which rumors are now pouring. That silence has had a paradoxical effect, fueling both anxiety and speculation. Fans who might otherwise have waited for an official update are now dissecting every past moment in which Jungkook appeared with heightened security. Was there a time when his entourage seemed unusually large? A trip abroad where bodyguards seemed more vigilant than normal? Were those early signs of a threat already lurking, or simply standard precautions for one of the world's most recognizable performers? In the absence of facts, every memory becomes potential evidence, every photograph a clue. Some theories, making the rounds, suggest the threat could be linked to an incident overseas, when Jungkook's security detail was doubled without explanation. Others whisper about the possibility of a disgruntled acquaintance, someone who once moved within the same professional circles, but was cut off for reasons unknown. Theories spin faster than they can be debunked, and in some corners of the internet, the line between concern and conspiracy has blurred almost completely. Still, the sheer speed with which these conversations are moving shows just how deeply invested fans are in uncovering the truth. In a cafe not far from HYBE's headquarters, patrons have reportedly been overheard discussing the matter in low, urgent tones. "It can't just be random," one woman murmured to her friend, phone clutched tightly in her hand. Another customer, eyes scanning her social media feed, nodded gravely, as though the pixels on her screen carried the weight of a personal loss. Such scenes are playing out not just in Seoul, but in cities around the world, wherever the army is gathered. The sense of personal connection to Jungkook and his team is strong enough that even fans thousands of miles away feel the incident as if it happened in their own neighborhood. The personal toll on Jungkook himself remains an open question. Those who had seen him recently, at rehearsals, in passing, describe him as unusually serious. His expression weighted with thoughts he could not easily